Yo, what's good, guys? Welcome back. This is gonna be, as you can tell by the title, FL Workshop, Beat Workshop, episode 4. The last 3 I did months ago, but I'm gonna start it up again, and I'm gonna just jump straight into it because this is raw and uncut. Okay, camera looks good there. So jumping straight into it, I'm gonna go ahead and break down this beat I made just yesterday. It's more of a Gunna, Wanna Wheezy, Gunna Wanna, like that album influence type on it. So pretty much it's just this right here, just over, and then I made a nice little outro for it. The intro is just very simple, but I'm gonna go ahead and just play the loop for you a little bit.
Johan, you know he does it better.
That's the gist of it. The verse is me just pretty much breaking up the hook. All the things that were in the hook, I'm just breaking it up throughout the verse. And I'm gonna just go straight into how I broke it down. Essentially, essentially what I did is I got everything color coded, everything spaced out the way I wanted it. I wanted to go like really all out with this beat, um, just to practice more organization skills, which is a good thing. You should always practice. So first off, start with the intro. Start right here. The only thing I did, just threw a little EQ on it. There was so much going on within the sample itself for just this 8-bar loop. Just put an EQ, no reverb, no nothing. I just kept it really dry. But I did throw like a frequency band on it. So pretty much this just slides in and out. Gives it a nice little breathing effect, underwater type deal. And then I just do a texture on it. Just it's just thunder. Just nice. There's something to keep the ear candy here. It's ear candy, but something to keep you very interested in the beginning. Going into the hook, it's just all the instruments playing. And again, just EQ. Put out some highs. It was pretty spacious already. I didn't want to throw a reverb because if I would have put a reverb on this, it would have drowned out all the sounds. And I don't want to drown out any sound. I think it sounded pretty good for where it's at. And since I kept the drums and the percussion elements so simple, like all the high-end stuff, taking out those high EQs on the second one really made those drums pop a little more. It's all about taking out, really. Not about adding stuff in, but it can be about adding stuff in. Just depends on what type of beat you want to make. Moving on to the guitar. Before I threw anything on it, it sounded like this. But there's no room for the 808, so I put a cut. Made another cut, took out that harsh frequency that was right there, blocking the 808 from hitting. Nice little, just a little reverb. A Valhalla Massive. I think this was in mods or echoes, I don't know. I don't want to lose it. But just turn the mix down. Mixes all the way up. Just turn it down. And then again, another EQ, taking out that harsh low end for the 808 to really boom. That's it with that. Next thing I had, I'm not sure what this was. I just called it like the water keys. The only thing I did was focus on the frequencies where it was. I didn't have to do anything to that, just level it out and EQ it. And those two sound like this. Nice. Real smooth. Moving on. This high flute. I guess that's what it is. Pan flute or something. Gave me like Egyptian vibes or something. I don't know what it did, but This is what these two sound like. Oh, and on the flute, I guess I'll show you what I did to the flute. Just focus on the spectrum, the frequencies, kept them nice, tight, and narrow. So here's what this sounds like now. And this is something I stopped doing this for a while. I don't know why I did. Is it's like it's a thing in music. It's like call and answer. Where like one melody will play this, and then another melody will play, and then like they kind of this will play that, and then it answers this, and they just kind of play off each other. That's what I did. I just put the water keys here, and then the high flute, just like some nice ear candy bouncing around, and the water keys I just chopped it up right here. And the reason why I chopped it up right here is because this top line guitar comes in, and this is what that sounds like. Nice. One thing that I went a step further, and I actually made another chop on this note instead of it being, which is cool. I just went ahead and just pitched this up 2 because it is at down 2. So just pitching it up 2 stays in the key, but adds some flavor. So just a nice little, just more texture, just more dynamics, and that's really what you're just building it off of. Really, just dynamics, contrast, vibe, sonically making space for each individual sound. It takes a lot of time, going the extra mile, but it always comes out a lot nice, a lot more nicer. And then let's see, I got here. What's this sound? Okay. This plays off this guitar. And all 3 of them play off each other. I could have got by with maybe adding some delay onto this guitar, which if I do any delay, I always use just Fruity Delay 3. I put it on ping pong, turn down the wet knob, and then I always go up here and tweak this knob as well. So let's see how this sounds. Too much. I want to increase the length of it though, and turn it down more. It's still a little too much. That's something that you could always just tweak with, and even making an automation clip. This is what will take that delay to the next level. So I always just start, copy the value, and then I want it to fade out before this bar. So I'm gonna go ahead and place that like this, drag this down, and then I'm gonna slowly do this. So hopefully this turns out pretty well. Let's check it out. Perfect. And then if I were to actually include this in the beat, I would just do this. Not that, I don't want to do that. That. So there it goes and adds the effect on for every time it plays. So pay attention to the delay when I play all 3 of the guitars together. Just add some flavor, just add some, it just adds some more spice. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Just not saying you guys gotta do that, but it definitely helps sometimes. When it's for the listener really. It's for the people that don't make music, like they'll pick up on that, like rather more than an artist would. And then okay, I'm gonna go straight into these vocals I got. These were playing on every bar, but it was just way too much, especially with all the guitars. I really wanted the guitars to stand out right here as a breakdown, so I just played them just twice in this 8 bars, and it worked out pretty well. Perfect. The last sound is this drone sound. I think it's just like one key being held down. And that just fills up the very high end. Because your drums aren't really ever going to fill up that spectrum of the frequencies. So the high end really just kind of just, it's like glistening. That's the word I like to use for that. All together though. And then back to the hook. So that's the melody. That's how I broke down the sample. Let's go ahead and get into these drums here. Everyone's favorite part. I'll turn off these. I'll get into these transition effects here later. So the drum pattern that I went for. Should I do? Yeah, I'll go ahead and just do this. Started with the hi-hats. I started this beat with the hi-hats entirely. I had a rhythm in my head, so I put this hi-hat pattern down. And then I added a clap. Just a simple clap. And then this back and forth, it like plays the open hat normally, and then it plays it in reverse. It's hitting where the hi-hats aren't. So it starts there, gives a little bounce, catching into the clap. And then this little perk I added, it's like a rim shot. It hits on a typical beat, like a typical snare, you know, I'm talking about that ch ch ch. And then that really sets off the open hat, and then the bounce is phenomenal here. Perfect. Lastly, I didn't do anything really crazy here, just a simple little snare roll. Nothing you've probably never done before. That's really it. It's just a 4-bar loop. That's really all. The 808, the only thing I did was this, and then I just pitched that up twice. Kept it real simple. So the 808 hits, I try to make a hit where it's easy just to catch a bounce and make it hit hard. And then all together. I'll play it into the verse with this transitional effect. Cool. I did not mention this hi-hat though, I was getting there. Pretty much, I like to add a little more percussion elements. If I'm taking some percussion out, I'm gonna add in a little more, and it's just easy to do with the hi-hats. And the hi-hats is just, your hi-hats can always sound pretty cool, and this really made it sound like really just different. Listening to it, you're like, damn, what the fuck was that? But that's all it is. Just 2 rolls, just played before and after the clap. And getting into the drums, I really wanted to break down these drums because this can play the entire time, but it's just gonna get so repetitive. So I just broke it down, played it at the end of every 4 bars. Just the rim shot, open hat, excuse me, and then I just changed up the hi-hat pattern just to give it some more space right there. So let's check that out. And the only thing else I did, I just added one more little 808, just to give it that kind of standard trap feel, that boom, boom, boom. And then I just copy and pasted it over. I just kind of cut the hi-hats out, give it some drop, some more excitement, keep your ear going, keep your attention. Always try and change something up at the end of each bar. You could cut out drums or maybe add something in, and that will go a long way. And it's just really simple. I guess I did do these every 4, but the snare I did every 8, at the end of every 8. And again, that's just dynamics, keeping it interesting, and then yeah, that's really it right there. That's all I did it for. I'm gonna get into these transitional effects here. I started with this guy. Cool. I heard this riser. I said, since this beginning part of this right here is kind of quiet, I'm gonna go ahead and add this guy in, but just turn it down. I just keep all these kind of quiet. But at the same time, while it's quiet, it is moving the beat along, which that's important too. Adding movement to your beat, making it make sense. Like, what direction is this going? If the direction doesn't make sense, it's just the beat kind of falls apart. Artists won't pick the beat. So you want to find a beat that kind of tells a story. And I felt, since I didn't use a kick in the beat, I needed a stomp. It's a very quiet stomp. I turned it all the way down pretty much, but it's there. And then with the crash, those 3 things like really add. They make up for that kick and that punch and the delivery of it. So don't be afraid to layer sound effects or layer a bunch of stuff. There's no rules of this shit, so this is it all together. Makes it real big, like something exciting is going to happen, and it does. It follows through, it delivers, and then again, just copy and paste it over. And then I add little switch ups here and there. At the beginning of the second verse, I add this guitar into here. Just to kind of keep the energy going, because you gotta think hook, verse, verse. Verse 1, verse 2 you might have 2 different artists on there. So if the hook's really good, people are going to want to keep that energy going. So depending on how the artist wants to use the beginning of the second one, I left the energy still kind of up tempo, groovy, going, moving, and then it's just rinse and repeat. After the hook, on the third hook, I just added a nice little outro with the guitars. The guitars sounded really nice, so I just kept the guitars going, and here's the outro for that. What I like about the outro is I use this to signify a verse is coming in, but nowhere else in the beat does all 3 of these play right after the hook. So again, it's just like, oh, is this like another breakdown? Is this another? It's a question. But obviously, once you're 2.5 minutes into a song, okay, it's about over. But yeah, just to give some more contrast at the end. So that's the 3 or 4 things I look for. It's movement, just dynamics, the contrast, and just the sounds. Like, does it sound good? Do the sounds make sense? And that's really all it comes down to. It's a really simple beat. It took me an hour. I've been working on this project though, like just kind of practicing EQs, and even being here recording this video, it adds time to it. But this took me about an hour and 10 minutes. Periodically, I was taking breaks just to give my ears, like a little rest. But that's really it. That is really it. Pretty happy with this beat. If you guys like the beat, go ahead and leave a comment. FL Workshop beat breakdown type video. If you guys want to see more, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Peace. See you guys later.